Ale, kotrochies, getting to a good light. Yes, please.
So I wanted to ask, all these factors are present in all individuals. And are they measurable factors? Like,
Huh?
are they measurable factors?
Are they?
Measurable.
Miserable.
Can you measure them?
Oh, okay.
This much percentage. If he says of doing and you want to reduce it, but I mean, like the percentage of all these, are they same percentages or different in every individual?
Tini koe tanda nganzo ki simjung di changmasra, ani ngaranzo ki jula yore la ne songroas. Chizan tedawe simjung tezo nganzo ki tseshido janasra, tsedo chi jaya yore besra, pena chashana migashi ki jula jaja dagaz yore la yatabora. Migashi ki jula ani jaja degas mashi yoma re la yatabo. Tende ki ani tsedo chi jaya ayus.
Tunda tiskale khabarwas. Karasana Japan tanda makandji in dijil pechiwata balanga zukarasana nashi to tisu yewada balwas. Nashi yeso tin kodu chonida ani sinjo desu yewada balis. Da yina yon tundugi ripate sile tan ani ripala kara sile squara da ripa yalo tundugi chabaji yungore wa mato. Dalende yungo maresiate chechuni som matagata bachi. 좀 조야 디스칼리 카보르 차디 그래서 이나요 머리바 야력토니 신주디 싫어이는 답치와도 띵이지나 때문에 어떻게 제바지 연구를 와마도 예다버딩 알아서 자손줄이 예데래서
So this is a little bit difficult to say that these kind of mental factors are quantifiable in the manner in which we talk about quantifying factors in scientific exploration. So but with that being said, we can kind of gauge the difference of the strength of these mental factors, the clarity of these mental factors in different individuals. As we already discussed, that as human beings, we have the six main minds, or the six main minds, referring to these five sensory consciousness and the mental consciousness. Now, if we have all of us have these six main minds, then we already discussed how these six main minds are always accompanied by a set of mental factors. So, when we say that, then of course there is a difference in the strength of discernment from individual to individual. When we look at a particular mental factor like discernment, the strength of the mental factor of discernment could be different from people to people. And then similarly, concentration or similarly stabilization could be different from people to people. So as such, there can be difference in the strength, the clarity of these mental factors, but it will be difficult to say that these are quantifiable or measurable in percentages and numbers in that manner. How to gauge the strength of your discernment, or teni tedawe ni nganzogi tingin zin la daw ani dushi ani chilor shirab la sobayra chebar yore la yorwas mine mi para la yora chebar yore ni di chebar ding nganzogi se khande do jile simni chebar yore bes khar shi khare la sha ne chebar chogre bes
Tati ngazo chekarugene cheba shagosya te yamara pen shirela nyule yabade ngarazo nyuitin tutugora ndi nuna ngarazo mangashi ripapi ya de zonda boyena ko sarerela on khaduk tak tak jetenge yeri gashi timni jetenge yeri gashi timma summa tole be simu chatenge ji yungdo was te karazo ko shirim nolo chebada bo jero was ko ti shirim nore ti no mare sia ngazo 세지 느리지 죽는 레스야데 이제 다 깔래 가보러 왔어. 되는기 싫어 띵이지 벤데 temba이나 tem보 때문에 되게 제바지 용도 왔어. 대 여바든 알아서 뇽이톤이 예 주드 그래 벤데 로츠 티자라 보이나 저는 정도니 tem바 땡한테 서 있는 주링 먼저 터거리 tem바 tem보리 싫어 맹케이나 싫어 제타고 말해. 대 여바든 알아서 간거 뇽이톤 주트기도 왔어. 소소게 라트야라 보지러 왔어.
So when we say that it is not quantifiable in numbers and percentages, it does not mean that there is no empirical evidence which points towards the fact that there is a difference in the strength, clarity of these mental factors from individuals to individuals. So what exactly is this empirical evidence? This empirical evidence is our own experience. So, for example, among this very group, there might be people who are able to catch what is being discussed in the teachings immediately. And some people might have to listen to the teaching 2 times, kind of think about the teaching on their own time to kind of get effectively at what exactly is being discussed here. So that experience itself points towards the difference in the strength of intelligence. This also relates to mindfulness, this also relates to stabilization, and so forth.
Nirigi cheba yungur was, tanda logic TDB Katundabayina, Gashiki sympatini, Yapuji Nidewa Dabayina, Tombo Sojun Chibi Katola, sympatini, Sinyapuji Nidewaina, Dick Debatimuchi degrees, Dictere. Nini Tanda Titsayudi, Yoni on the son of the Yoni on the son of the Titula, Yoni on the Jumachi Doina, Junior Batinga Bateso, Arato Karesena, Susugi. Nyomaton and the Mudu, Mosang Ratretaya.
So herein it is important to understand that it is not on the basis of some sort of innate ability that we begin to notice these differences. It is the manner in which one engages these mental factors. For example, when you are listening to the teachings, if you listen attentively with all of your concentration, then you are able to make sense of the teachings more effectively. This is one manner in which we notice a difference. Now, another manner in which we notice a difference is to bring the teachings to our mind again and again and again. In our own time, we try to contemplate again and again. So that's a function of mindfulness, to be able to place the familiar object in front of the mind again and again and work towards contemplating it. So there's a lot of factors in play here. It depends upon effort, it depends upon the quality of the attention, and so forth.
Shirap Saturday. The Shirap Sakarasana, Tabachi mobile mini, London Jib number stare. Shirap sound, the Tabason, the Jeba Chesagi, Jili, Mini, London J sound, the Dereda, the Mari Siat, Yon, the Yare, the Duri, or Tunugi, Chebanjingi, Logilla, Carresana, and Carrescore, Shirap Sigris.
So now moving on with our discussion on the object ascertaining mental factors. The 5th is wisdom. In lay terms, intelligence, but in the Buddhist context, we use the precise term wisdom. Now, wisdom is understood, if we look at the definition in the handout itself, a distinct mental factor that has the function of discriminating precisely with analysis the qualities, faults, or characteristics of an object held by mindfulness. Lasso.
Da Jili Carresena, and Tesson Juba Chibi, in Sinjung Deris, Korong Jili Carresena, and Tessamde. She should have Londogi Shirayaboji Dewaina, Dere Mari Siadi, Tessan the Younger Yungu Maris, Korong Carres and Chili Dobade, and Tesson Juba Chibi.
And its main function is understood as that of being able to cut through indecision and doubt, and in its place bring forth certainty about the object of analysis.
That Delangazo Ducini, Yawadobo Shivaina, Pena Shiredilla, Yawadobo Shivaina, Yawa Shesina on Diguris, Caresapena, Jetabi Shirep, Ani Tujung Shirep, Ani Carre. Some Jung Shirap, Ani Carre, Ganjung Shirap, said, or Turichi, Shirap Coronel Yawadabu, Jetabu to Sina, and
So now, when we are talking about wisdom, from the Buddhist perspective, we classify wisdom generally into four types of wisdom. Now, the first one is what we refer to as inborn wisdom. Now, this does not actually refer to an innate wisdom that we have. It refers to the fact, to the wisdom that is cultivated over lifetimes, and this leaving an imprint on the consciousness, and it manifesting itself in this life. That's what we mean by inborn wisdom. Now, the other three types are what we term as acquired wisdom. So acquired wisdom comes through training, and there are three types of acquired wisdom. Wisdom acquired through the training of listening or studying, and wisdom acquired through contemplation or reflection, and then wisdom acquired through meditation.
그래서 제도 다 동보 가르치는 제대비 시럽스 다 제대비 시럽스가 가르쳐서 나가지고 소소 축복 중중 아미쿠바도 맞게잖아 가실라 뭐 시르 농보 드리지 용도 와서 지 가르쳐서 신델라 시다기 매주지 먹고 돈이 빼 시르 농보 지 로조다 버지바이나 랑송랑소 시르는 게 제다 드리기 시르 용도 와서 대서 가르쳐서나 제대비 시럽스가 자도 그래서
So now when we look at these different types of wisdom or intelligence in some context, then the first of these is inborn intelligence or inborn wisdom. Now, this inborn intelligence or inborn wisdom is kind of evident when we look at the example of a child, a very young child, who does not really have to put too much effort into his studies, and he's able to kind of get whatever the book is talking about, whatever the teacher is teaching. So that's an example of inborn intelligence or inborn wisdom. That's
제도 던두기리 받는 버리지는데 그냥 가시다 보이나 로세다 부티와 있는 카도 가르치셔와 있는 배 따다다다들 이제 탱기 들기 싫어 농보 던두기 연구도 와서
So there are many, when we think about it, there are many examples like this that we have seen in our lives. Very young children, young people who have very sharp mental faculties.
베네딕도 제조 베나레 ngaman 가서 도와라 레 토산을 로지티디 카도리 티디 카도라 자 pomo지 여러분 미니 데사된 나주 다아레듯이 칼카타 타왈 되기도 뭐 리빠지 동원이 방사야다 버레시 니 디니 마지 라운데 뭐 미니 제도디 가르선 가서 나와이나 따따따따따따 미드린 저탄 게 지도스 아니 지 랍서 티차비 좋은데 좋아고는데 탁탁탁탁탁 야태야 준주기 용배시를 항상 들이 용해 영가서 도와서 대소는 가르서는 조 가르서는 제대 시르서 말이 제단 시르 농보다 보데 가르 시르 농보 어떤 용해지 도와서
So if I recount a personal incident that I had in Thosamling itself, before we used to have a Buddhist philosophy program, a long-term philosophy program, and there was a young Indian girl from Kolkata, and I was really amazed by the sharpness of her mental faculty, how intelligent she was. All the teachings she was able to catch and understand immediately. And when I asked questions to the group, she was able to answer everything precisely. So I was really, really amazed by the sharpness of her intelligence.
제도 들이라 멍이 로제 티차님바 좋아지고 저바트네 탁탁탁 자로 주마 이지스 다운데 가르 나와야 돼 너시 버트도 원이 든득이 지 시레지에 도와야나 배 로조지알 시라 깔리 무도 아시아나 센쇼 차카스 거를 가르스 거를 든득이 배를 항상 들이 누구 생각이라
So from one side I was really, really amazed that when I saw this, that she was able to catch on to the lessons immediately. And when I kind of test them with pop quizzes and questions in between the sessions, she was able to answer everything immediately, precisely. And then we had term examinations in that philosophy program, and then she was able to answer everything perfectly, precisely. And I was really, really amazed by that. And from another side, I was also a little bit discouraged that if you have such sharp intelligence, such sharp mental faculty, then you do not really need to put in so much effort in your studies of the scriptures at all. And I was discouraged a little bit that I was thinking to myself, if I wish I had such a sharp intelligence too.
그래서 일단은 당연히 생식 차는 그래서 가서 단타 소중 야부지로 되어 있나 형 나성이 제도야지도 그래서 들으면도 자리에서는 미닐로 카톡 이제 제타고도 봐 든득이 봐 항상 아니 들이지나다 소중 지야 깔리 게면도 왔어야 버지가 든득이 좋아하는 거 제송스
So I really had that feeling that I was a little bit discouraged because personally I have to spend a lot of time, effort and energy into studying the scriptures, trying to understand the scriptures. And I do not have such a sharp intelligence. When I saw this girl that she could go through the scriptures, understand everything immediately, then I felt like, okay, if one has such sharp intelligence, then one doesn't really need to put in so much effort into their studies.
지도 드리는도 지난주 지 로준 집이 주는 깔리 치시지 가르래서나 소소 깔리 제시적이 조시에 로준데 셀메딘 강아 치시도 지 대차도 왔어 소소기 배선 시우지 지 깔리 제대와 있나 용데 가르래서나 템바템바 메바이나 랑송랑소 제도야 로준 집이 니가라 깔리 치시도 지 대차도 왔어.
So that is actually one of the biggest challenges that we face in the pursuit of a study. In the pursuit of study in any field, because we spend a lot of time, energy and effort into studying it, but if we do not have a sharp mental faculty or we do not have a sharp recollection, then it is difficult for that which we studied to stay and remain in our minds.
제도 든득이 메집에 타나다버데 나도 동번 로주 집이 가도라 동번 로주 삐다버지 로주 집이 가도라 심바데 로주 딜 때니 로주 삐다보 야버지 제타와이나 영 템버데야 든득이 잡아지 용도와 타는 기대 인사레스 지디 가르에서는 존사지데 바 야머져와지 안 대서 감지 티칼 대서 카드 티칼 로와이나 아니 영 템바 메집이 타나다버지 드디지네 마다와데버지
So personally, I think that there are two ways to overcome this particular challenge in the pursuit of our studies. One is to ensure that the time that we dedicate to our study is an effective one, that we are not approaching our studies in a distracted manner, that we are trying to approach our study with full of our concentration. This is one method. Another method, I think, is not to leave what we have already studied as it is, but to try to revisit it again and again whenever we find the time.
Yeah. That digujiro, that chira. Teche, did. 다 가를 나서가니 싫어들어.
싫어졌다.
어디래? 어디래다? 어디래? 다 안에 동보 어찌도 싫어서야 되리스. 같이도 맞지산이 배 리바 농보 홍보 야보여 된게 저기 가도 제탱게 가르래서 와이나 제도 싫어서야 되지. 단이바디 가르서나 아니 투종 싫어서야 되리스.
So now moving along with our discussion, we already discussed about the first type of intelligence or wisdom, which is the inborn type of intelligence or wisdom. Now moving forward, the other types of wisdom or intelligence are what we call acquired wisdom or acquired intelligence. So then the first of these is intelligence or wisdom acquired through study or listening.
제동 다데 투종 싫어서 가르에서 내빼나 다데로 투종스 어디지 소소 개개라보다 소소 라마데사기 기 된다디 튀니 아니 델리티니 다지점 과라파점 어디데레 도냐비 아니 다데데레 도냐비 아니 싫업데라 가르에서나 아니 투종 싫업세야데 어테레스.
So intelligence acquired through listening, wisdom acquired through listening refers to the understanding, a very rough understanding that we gain when we listen to our teachers explaining something, or in the spiritual context, listening to a spiritual teacher explaining the text. And at that point, through engaging in the act of listening to the teaching, then you gain a very rough understanding of the teachings.
투종실에 되지. 다 somebody 가르에서는 안에 삼중 실업세야데 자거래서.
Now, The second of these acquired intelligence or wisdom is the intelligence or wisdom acquired through contemplation.
다 상조기 시라드 가르스는 다지기 투데야기 된데라 연이연의 산노동 진생군이 집어치니 아다 데레 시합에 타주비 아니 가르스나 시럽지라 데데레 데마레 시 다디기 투종기 시라기 된데 고아라빠점 니도라 어 두디 된데라 진생기 투니 집어치니 리바도 두디 진생 시시고 다 두디 리바 지다 먹고 왔지 진생기 투니 집어치니 아니 타주비 아니 가르스나 시르지라 아니 가르스나 상중이 시르스야 오토치니 차지가 돼서
So this second type of acquired wisdom of intelligence refers to based on the rough understanding of the meaning that we have ascertained from listening to the teachings, then we begin to analyze it on our own. We begin to critically analyze the meaning of what we heard, of what we studied in a class or in a teaching on our own. And there is a process of rational analysis involved. And through this process of rational analysis, critical analysis on the meaning of what we have studied, then we should be able to, at this point, bring forth a sense of certainty about the meaning of what we have studied.
What did you say? Contemplation?
몬테레서 상주시를 때리 어때리 제도다 권익이 제바데 된 것도 투종수원도 바주기 중벽 된다다보데 고아라빠점마도 해요 말해서 상주기 시릭수원도 다데 고아디베데 타춘이 가르레서 와 있는 이 이미기 나이도 비 타추 상기들라 가르에서는 상중 시립세야데 연구해서
So it is important to understand the difference between these two, wisdom acquired through listening or study and wisdom acquired through contemplation. In the first instance, one only gains a very gross or rough understanding of the meaning of the teachings. And in the second type, there is a process of contemplation involved, wherein you begin to attend to the meaning of what you studied through reasoning, critical analysis, rational analysis. So at this point, the understanding is not rough. There is a sense of certainty about the understanding that you have gained here.
제조 다 간종기 시르세야데 소소기 타추차야기 된데 연이 두스지니 아니 감바체데게텔라 가르스나 간종기 시르세야도 디스그여레서
So then, now the third type of acquired intelligence, it refers to intelligence acquired through meditation. Now, through listening and through contemplation, when you have ascertained the meaning of a particular teaching, then you begin to meditate on it again and again and again. That's all.
제조 다 권익이 제바 삼종도 간종이 제바 가르이오서는 성종시야디 진신리티니 도스지니 여디 제바치고에 진도 와서 간종이 니가스 진신리 두고 말 코른 용익이 투니테네 그 가르에서나 용텔 된데라 조턱이 요레스 진실을 두고 말해 선조기 진실이 돈이 집어치는데 타주치고야지 도와서 간종기 니급서 진실을 산노동 거 그런 가라레스는 아주 그런 멍기 만족타야 둘이지 차도 요레서
So there is a difference between the second type of wisdom, that is wisdom acquired through contemplation, and the third, which is wisdom acquired through meditation, because in the wisdom acquired through contemplation, there is an active process of reasoning involved, and you're trying to get at the meaning of a particular teaching through reasoning again and again in order to bring forth a sense of certainty about the particular meaning of a teaching. Now, at the point of meditation, you do not depend on meaning, on reasoning to get at the meaning of a particular teaching. You are trying to establish it within the continuum of your own experience without depending on reason.
어째서 드리지는 차디 그래서 다때서 가서 데시 딜리 콜리 라버와 간조 스페나 소속이 리가르고 제디게나 통브라디 리가들 집이 니가서 아니 메이타니 삼바 전에 르르도 지고 빠루지레 리가들 간주 침보질 나오는데 아니 메이춘이 마다네요 다다다다 걸리가 제태야 든든지 연구도 와서 어디서 가려서나 감기 연구 중국어라서 어디다 보지는 연구에서
So it is important at this point to understand meditation from the Buddhist perspective is understood as a process of familiarization, process of familiarizing oneself with the particular object. So when we understand this, then this makes sense. For example, try to relate it with a particular task that you are doing for the first time. And you have to do it daily. So when you are doing it for the first time, it involves making sure you are doing it right, everything. You have to be careful. But as you do it again and again and again and again, you become completely familiar with the process, wherein there comes a point wherein through experience, you do not have to pay attention to what exactly you are doing. You do it almost intuitively at that point. Yes.
야야. 되니 단다 가르래. 당가서 영인가시아 차버려와. 제도 대인치대 가르래서나 당가서 영인가시아 되긴 되시다고 아니 랩제 두진의 접심받아 그래서.
So with this we conclude a very short discussion on what is called the 5 object ascertaining mental factors.
제도 당가서 단다 영인가시아디도 영인가시아디 고아다 본다 접시와에는 영이시오디 여 제라바와 여 미시지래 아니 민기 지라 가르래 고르 미 신조되기 여 제라바와 여 미시지라 아니 미바 니바지라 미바 땡키바지라 아니 가르래 영이시
So at this point it is important to understand why exactly are they called determining or object ascertaining. Now if we look at the handouts, it specifies at the start that these 5 are called object ascertaining or determining mental factors because they apprehend the individual features of an object. Individual herein referring to specific or particular. Question?
And when one is meditating, how does one experience that?
Tine Quran tuwa di Geshe la kirangi gerji nyamnyung do jisung ro nang da asra. Pena chashana tanda nganzo ki gom la du zamba da yu la pa gomba tenye jo ra. Gom ji mi bala ina yana yu la gomba tenye de la kogore len sung ro as. Ane te yin du zamba ane kirangi gom jabe nyamnyung la asra. Ane tanda nganzo ki da zosim tukshene ane nganzo ki yishe la jishige ro as. Yijisheba ra. Yijisheba de la gomba tengo ro as da gomja du zamba. Ane genchirangi ane gomja be jurim la asra. Gomba tengdan de nyamnyung khande da re son khande te isra. Yijisheba de la gomba tengdan che ra. Oti chi son ro na das.
nga tinde gi nyanyang saboda misira botiri kembesra gan thoma jaya gi jonda da che ma du ngini gi tiri gi pe nyanyang malaysia da phen thoya da boda tiri gi nyanyang karere se wa ina karesore ngarong la tu kembes ta yena yo gende so ma sungju da bochi tiri chi nye de ma du ngini gi sozo le nywa da bo tiri ke yore sen che kanji me.
So personally I do not have too much experience with meditation. I myself am a beginner, and as such, I don't think I'm in a place to kind of talk about my meditative experiences, and I am not sure if this can be helpful to anyone. But with that being said, I have heard about the experiences that my own teachers have shared with me.
제소 다 드르다본 도지 시와다바이나 겐테소기 명하다보 드르다보지 마송데야네 바든 가론라네 체강지 야마레스로 대징었다 명하다보 타나다보 지 가리인사레서 오디 가조 페나 간 통마 제비 니갑세요 감데 자야기 뒤주 통통지 가장도도 삐다보 지 가르레스는 뒤주 통통지 노나 센디 우니기 삐 드림네 가르레스나 미바델라지 족 가신 족 터져서 대용 뒤주 통통으로 보지 뉴링 보면 와지 대수 통통 아니 가르레 세와이나 아니 디스 종가 모아 어떻게다 버지니 간제비 니가 스티스 삼반다부 드림니 미바들 디스 파테야다 버지 된디 가르스나 아니 디 쪼다버디 가 통문제비 니가서 나족이 삼바디 드림니 미바텔라 파테 아니 때바디 동보들 깔리여리 때타가 말이티 예나용 디 가르레 세와이나 영니 대수 통통 까마니 찌 된디기 랭 kama jis jatawa ina digores nis jatawa ina tundi di cha mongbo da boche jabi khato la pita bo yabu ji yong ja di jis kichimbo da boche tin sa res.
So I cannot really kind of attest to my own two experiences in meditation which can be of benefit to you, but as I already said, I myself am a beginner, but I have received personal instructions from my spiritual teachers, and as beginners in meditation, it is very important that we look at the act of meditation and approach the act of meditation correctly first. And this takes into account the practicality of meditation, the act of meditation, when we first approach it. So as such, when you personally begin to cultivate a meditative practice, in the beginning it is important to not immediately aim towards being able to meditate for long periods of time, but to ensure that we are able, even if the meditation session itself is short, but to make it very, very effective. So what do we exactly mean by effective? Effective herein, trying to ensure that the quality of the attention on the object is very strong. Strong in the sense that we try to tighten the focus, the attention, the concentration on the object as much as we can, so that the mind stays singularly on the object of meditation. And it doesn't matter if you are not only able to do it for 2 or 3 minutes. We can 2 or 3 minutes. We need to learn to able to break off the session when we feel we are not able to tighten the focus in this manner. We should count these 2 minutes as a session, and then to do as many of these short sessions as possible, but to ensure that the quality of attention, concentration is there in these 2-3 minute short sessions.
제도 드리다고 제타한다고 이나 간동부 제비니가 스티스 뿌다보 템포지 야보지 그 티스 제타하다고 이나 주르이 동야 되더니 그 가르르스는 티스 레라고 요사레스 동부 템포 야보지 저와이나 텔라 양디 양 간디지 양디 양 간디티 양디 그 주르모데 그 낭기 칼리 나오고 요사레스.
Because rather than worrying about being able to meditate for a long period of time, immediately, if we focus on making the session itself effective, and then stability would naturally develop over the course of time.
저도 티케치 뭐 장도 왔어. 대미나 강제비니가서 동부텔에 지스피다고 야버지 자마타바다보이나 아니 생을 가르 텐데라고 샤샤와이나 저주니선 보고 가서 감자되와이나 텐디체 강지 또야 메데켄다보지 차도에 살에서.
Because it is the case that many people kind of approach meditation as being sitting down, then trying to closing your eyes, and then meditating, and they have the impression that they have to be able to meditate for a long period of time. But in having such an approach towards meditation, they fail to take into account that most of the duration of that particular session is not effective at all. Even if they sit down for like 30-20 minutes, most of the time they are in reality spacing out. They have lost the object of meditation. So rather than spacing out and wasting our time in this manner, make effort towards cultivating short, effective sessions wherein the attention is strong, the concentration is focused on the object.
제가 둘이 차도 왔어. 나랑서 간제베레들 도스 소도 냐냐도는 싸와이나 주스 치가스 간자완다고 이나 은니기 다 심바데 미바데 감디 심데 미바데라 가시 때다 따와이나 kama shida kama ki singuni ni siade kale khabore samde ya yo ma do de ma do mi ba de sente siade kale khabore go chade gido was ting ara to kangala 가르스 거래. 다치 냐뇽다 봐. 감장해다 봐. 얘네 디 뇽아 하고 거라치. 데데데 같이 거래 마도. 세디 미발군이 니 여래서나 까마치니 니 바지 갈래 가버레스. 소소소 말고니 시사야서는 야보지 동아이나.
So then I'm sure that any of us who have meditative experience, who have cultivated a meditative practice can relate to this. If we reflect on the meditation sessions that we have. Let's say that we practice meditation for half an hour and we personally reflect on our experience. And if we honestly look at that experience, then it is very, very difficult that the mind is able to stay on the object single-pointedly for even a minute. That's the extent of it. Even if we stay half an hour in meditation, there are only instances wherein the mind is able to stay single-pointedly on the object of meditation.
제도 드리지온데 나도 감스 잡시아데서 가르스니 두수 통동지 샤본 가시지다 나wan 가시지 전에 뉴어 제스야 대춘이 갈리 가버렸어. 그 론도 감디 야보지 제온데 아니 빠르지 가르스는 거니 얘기 때문에 심디 강 야보지 두치네 봐 야보 차도고 사리마도 감스야 돼 가좀 봐 지트는 도고야 제리마도 니방 가시살라 가자 니방 가시살라 똥바 샤샤와이나 되네 야지도스야 돼 바지 미시바도 차도 그랬어.
So then when we are asked about sharing meditative experiences and so forth, that is why I make it a point that when we are talking about meditative experiences, then it is important to understand that meditation, the act of meditation itself should be approached with a sense of diligence and consistency, a consistent approach. Otherwise, any kind of experience that we kind of developed in engaging in meditation inconsistently does not really constitute an experience that springs from effective meditation. Because from the Buddhist perspective, we understand meditation as a lifelong pursuit. It is not the case that you develop a meditative experience immediately after a retreat or by engaging in meditation, by pursuing meditation for only 6 months or so. Based on years, decades of effort, only then can we develop an experience which comes from effective meditation.
그래서 제접배나 빼다버 대시기도 가서 간자디 나가마야 나보이나 가르송 거스네 세리드도 마다 가돌라 아니 메다고 빠고아니 신타보니 도스진데 다디 바마출 다운데 메바거마도 티스동바샤나 아니 그 도스다나 메바거에서는 바고마르 방 마치바 도스다와이나 신차오차네 메바야 어드리지 용도 와서 삐드리지를 제니 송유레스 제조 감시야 민투니 지투니 제거야 제레마도 카도 드리턴스야데 갈리 카보노 인사레서.
So it is very foolish and unrealistic to expect immediate results from meditation, because in the classical presentation on meditation, they use this specific analogy to make us understand the approach we need to take towards meditation. If we are to see the effects and benefits of meditation, this analogy is used, that if we are to make fire, now bear in mind this is a classical analogy, so as such science and technology has not developed to the extent it has developed now. So in the ancient times they use cinder blocks to make fire. So if cinder blocks in the sense 2 wooden blocks. So if we are to make fire out of 2 wooden blocks, then we have to keep rubbing the wooden blocks without stopping, unceasingly. And in between, if we stop rubbing the wooden blocks together, we cannot ever expect fire to arise out of that. It is only through the consistent act of rubbing the wooden blocks together that the spark of fire is born. So meditation and the effects of meditation is like that. Without a consistent approach towards meditation, we cannot begin to see effective benefits.
제도 드리지 연구사라 드리지리스 제대 간소 가르레서 와이나 간자비 가돌라 단다 미세기 직 소속이 두수 통통지라 감자와다 보이나 소속이 뇌니요 뇽이 돈티 싸노 돈이 드리지 제와다 보이나 미발레 티스 가르서 그래 심 장르 잡아대 심 위에들 장르 잡아대 드리지 지와 있는 열티스 아니 미바 니와 된 치아 용도 드리지나 미바 쇼도 두세야데 대용 돈한테 소속이냐도 라트야 잡아 드리지는 도와 드리진다 야 용사라 감제비 jet석이 쇼들라 가르레스는 소속 산노돈 다리 감데 야부지 렌도 렘도 응니 미발라 지 땡보니와라 신 장르 슉 칠르 장르 간주지 제고도 소속이 뜻이 묘이 따네 도시진의 제고 인사래서
So, with that being said, it is still very, very important to pay attention to our experiences in meditation, because it is only on the basis of these experiences, by observing these experiences and making sense of these experiences, can we develop develop an effective practice of meditation. So what I mean by this is, for example, when you are sitting down to meditate and you are trying to focus on the object of meditation, there are times when your attention is good, when you are able to concentrate on the object of meditation very well. So at such moments it is important to look at the strength, intensity of the attention. And this only you can personally attest to, because this is established in your own experience. So similarly, it is also important to pay attention to moments when you lose the object of meditation, when you become distracted, and look at the strength, intensity of attention at that moment. So when we make sense of, by making sense of these experiences, then we can begin to say, okay, if my attention is tightened in this manner, then I'm able to focus on the object of meditation. If my attention becomes loose in this manner, then I become distracted from the object of meditation. So this is the manner in which we need to be mindful and really observe the act of meditation in our experiences.
제조 대제 근데 가르에서는 단단히 컨디션이 감 통마를 잡아 자게는 주수 통통 삐다보 야 자야디 기치슈다 보지 차대고 이마도 간 정상계다 보이나 되는 그 주진서 같이 동나요 아니 소소라 연구를 왔어 가 통문집이 니가서 주수 통통 아니 가르에서는 삐다보 지야디 삐 기침부터 내가 침부지 이사래서
So I repeat again that it is crucially important that we do not take the approach that when we begin to meditate, when we are beginners, that we immediately kind of reach, hope to be able to meditate for long periods of time. We need to be realistic. So as such, as beginners, we should aim towards cultivating short and effective meditative sessions. Now, with that being said, if you are experienced, if you are a seasoned meditation practitioner, then it makes sense to try to aim to meditate for longer periods of time.
제조 들이 맞아 봐야나 나도 간 토마제비 니가서 티스 뒤치링 보다고지 간 야빠 말에나 어소자 제가 이제 버리질 가라서는 선박 주니 때마다 아니 손아파하는 시대네 간 자석이 대대서 통하는 손아파도 버리질들이 차도 그래서 제조 뒤서 통통 잡지 가르에서 와야나 비 자비 니가서 삐다보다 뒤서 통통 잡지 제와다 보이나 아니 티스 야고여서 말도 어제 언니 선박 메타비 니가라 영대도 어서자되나 아니 빠르질 간이치는 모델이 간자석이 대도 통하는데 비 손은 파도 걸들 차도 그래서 디 지송아도 통마 간제비 니가스 드리스 제나 야보 용거서래서
곰이 야보 조데베 가좀바니 토마토마 곰자디 좀바 곰이 야보 조데데 좀바니 참치고 그래서라
레레 다데 쇼르신 디도 저도 간자디비 카돌라요 감티스 야보 레디비 카돌라 독진 참샤다고 있는 용바 ganjayala towana buchi chide grace chanda bo tudido buchi thana yaborsa
because it should be the case that we approach the act of meditation with a sense of joy. Now if we take the approach immediately that we must be able to meditate for long periods of time, then we will kind of insist this on ourselves when we are meditating, and then we will try to sit through the session even when we are not able to focus on the object of meditation at all. And as such, we become disturbed, we become bored at times, and then we become frustrated in the end. And with that, the session itself is not something joyful, the session is not effective because of that, and then you are frustrated. And if you keep doing this, then there comes a time wherein you approach the act of meditation with a sense of frustration. When you see the meditation mat, then you become frustrated at one point. This should be not the case. Rather than that, as beginners, we are advised that we should cultivate short and effective meditative sessions. And in those short and effective meditation sessions, it is also important to learn to break a session when it's going good. When the meditation session you think is going good, then to learn to stop it there and break the session. This is because it gives you something to look forward in your next session.
Today you go right. Pending azora, Timothy Tadawana, Timushu, Tubu, Yin, Sokal, Chikashara, Chikasha, the Majadoina, Lansonico, Yando and Timothy Tani, Devada, which long to us, or didn't Chibada Winsaris, Gamdela, Pe, Abochadi, Cadola, Sandra would Jack Dustin is gone, some the Santa Vishayana, Yanja Shuma Ganja, Georgia.
So this is particularly true. For example, if you are watching a movie and then if you stop the movie at a very interesting point or an interesting point in the plot, then you go about do something else. When you come back, you are very enthusiastic about continuing watching it. So it's similar with the act of meditation as beginners, to learn to stop the session, break a session when it's going good, so that you approach the next session with joy, enthusiasm, and you look forward to it.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are
there any objects that are recommended to meditate on, like breath or
믹세기 있으라 곰지 믹바 아니 디테나 야보요레스라 오텐데기 아니 믹발라라 믹바 체바르젠데 아니 콜라 망신나 송구요레베스
제도 도준일 송구요레스 빼나 느리요레스 지단 지기나 노주데소나라 강기 미바 카르메니 디스고르 저러기 미도라 가레도 사바 가르가는 디고레스 지바레스 이는 미시기 체바 가르지 용고레스 와이네 빼나 지단 알레 동버티지 지단 가르서는 강기 미바 세야데 가르제나요 추구요레스 저런 미돌레미니 디거르 웰레미니 디거르 가르미니 와이나 강기 미바샤네 디고요레스 알레티젤라데 디노.
So you can take as your object of meditation anything. So in that sense, you can take a flower, you can take a piece of brick, anything as an object of meditation. So in that sense, the object of meditation is not definite.
빼나 소속이 간디 가르쳐와이나 생을 가르쳐대와이나 저런 미도 차대와이나 미도 아니 지 현다 가르쳐대와이나 뒤뒤 미바송와이나 디 소소라 가르스나 미바 차대와 어트리지는 연구요레 소속이 칸도 미발라 띠니 가르쳐대와이나 어디지는 연구요 요송요레서.
So this is in keeping in mind that the object of meditation should be something that you are comfortable with, something that is convenient for you to visualize. So as such, any kind of object that you are really, really familiar with, you find comfortable, you find convenient to visualize, that is the reason why from the Buddhist perspective, from the Buddhist instructions, we say that the object of meditation is not definite. You can choose anything as your object of meditation.
빼나 기본 가시 배샤는 가르송으로 빼나 산지 꾸다라고 뒤뒤를 미바다와이나 미시기 겐센도 치방 무부지 연구레스 산지 꾸다를 미바다와이나 소소라 산지 지시tem 왔던 소난사야던 지 가르레스나 지 소소 시간랑 뭐 있나요 뒤뒤 가르레스나 말에 빼나 산지 소난사와던 산지 지시tem 왔다 지 소소가 만났다 와다부터 소와다부터 와다와이나 유마 가르레스나 산지 그페 시본 차태야 다나 시기 망발 하기 년에도 붙여봐도 보이나 아니 가르스나 선주 끝으로 간거에서 마기 가르스나 그조티도 차대와 어떤득이 제바 연구 요레스 드리인서 미시기 아주 가르레치 와이나 베나 선지 끝자라발 미니 드리 간다 와이나 미시기 제바도 교바 어떤득 연구를 그달 미타나 도지간타나 야부 요레스 베나 같다 지 노바 산지바다 보 드리다 보지 와이나 드리를 미바이나 미시기 겐세도 제바지 드리주
So with that being said, then the Buddhist masters also make it a point to point out that there are special benefits to cultivating some objects of meditation, such as the representation of such as the body of a Buddha as the object of meditation, because it helps us to accumulate merit and to appreciate the qualities of the Buddha. And then this relates more particularly to the tantric practices, wherein when you graduate and develop your practice up to a certain point wherein you come to practice the Tantra. And in Tantra, there is practices such as the deity yoga. And in this, you have to be able to visualize the Buddha as if he is in front of ourselves. So as such, by cultivating an object of meditation as the body of a Buddha from the outset, then you are helping yourself kind of make progress in your spiritual path.
제조 드리지는 송이리스. 다 예나요 가르에서는 아주 제 선지권라 자주도 드리시라 메딩켄다 보이나 디카도 강고에서는 디스칼리 커버다 보지 용되기도 와서. 드리 저 알레 통마데라 동복이 소소라 가르에서 와이나 지 가르감데와다 보인 디툴 디스 감자. 데니 쇼마 가르에서는 미바 카포나요. 가르에서는 제다질라 디텔 템바다 보치 대와이나 아니 제다질라 얘는 디고로 와서. 마도 이제 가실라 선지 가르에서는 다시다 넘버 많이 개를 쓰고라다 된주기 취를 된주기 제다기 자주 메케다 보이나 가도 산지 그 강고에서 온디 디스 깔리 커버다 차득도 와서 얘는 미시기 긴시기 제바 된주지는 연구를 어들지는 송여래서
So now it would be very, very difficult for someone who is not raised in a Buddhist cultural background, who does not come from a culture of from a Buddhist culture, to be immediately able to visualize the body of a Buddha, because they are not familiar with the representation of the Buddha at all. So as such, one does not necessarily has to, from the outset, cultivate the object of meditation as the body of a Buddha. But over time, as you kind of become more invested in your practice, then it makes sense at one point to change the object of meditation as the body of a Buddha.
야야, 다 니고지로 되지.
감마멘도.
그만데.
mendu.
알레 드리다 버려서 제조 드리다 버려서 제조 강기 미바다버데 제당 배차되는 순간에 제다 가래 있는 미는 디고요. 이내 미시기 선지 군다당 드리다 버려 미타반다 버이나 겐세 치바만다와 두지니 모부지는 송여래서.
So now, just to sum up what we were talking about with regards to the object of meditation, the object of meditation is not definite in the sense that one can cultivate any kind of object of meditation one finds comfortable, one finds convenient, one finds easy to visualize. Now, with that being said, from the Buddhist spiritual perspective of Buddhist spiritual practice, it makes sense to cultivate the object of meditation as a body of the Buddha, because this has many special benefits.
Yeah. Then there's digmedo mare. The shine be.
So I think that helps.
Yeah. Then 다라.
다 대샤나마라.
대샤 아니 실라니 부처르지.
So we stop here and break for lunch. Please enjoy your lunch. 다 기어 주지디 있어.